true. In fact, I'll use that I wanted to sort of introduce some of the components of the PowerPoint just so people feel comfortable about what it is that they might want to talk about with GMOs, whether they use a PowerPoint or not. And what you're talking about is very important for one of the first things that are coming up. Whenever I talk about the health risks, I have to answer the question that's in the back of an average American's mind. Well, if it's so dangerous, how come the FDA would have approved it?
Yes, our government would never allow us to poison ourselves or be poisoned. They're going to take care of us. So there's something wrong with your argument there. Those kinds of people, I find that I might get 1 in 30, 1 in 40 who will honestly lend an open ear and just say, okay, tell me, what do you think? And if they listen, all they got to do is spend 10 minutes verifying it for themselves. I mean, it's disgusting. If you understand nanotechnology, and most of you do, the basics, if you understand copyright, if you understand a drive to control and the compensation you expect to receive for it, I mean, these people do not care about human life. They don't care about people like you and I do. It doesn't happen. That would get in the way. They are sociopathic, international globalist machines. I don't know how else to put it.
You know, what brings that out more than anything else is The World According to Monsanto. I've been studying the script on it to write a review, and it's unbelievable. I mean, they talk about how the people of Anniston, Alabama were being poisoned by Monsanto's PCBs, and the memo from Monsanto executives said, we can't afford to lose $1 of business. So they never told the people of Anniston that they were being poisoned and dying as a result of Monsanto.
Well, I can't wait until you bring this out. When do you think you'll have it finished and ready to ship?
Oh, no, it's out. The World According to Monsanto is ready.
Okay, that's done. Because last time you were on, you were just about to do it. So go to...
I don't have the review written, but the film is ready, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I know that. I've seen it. I know. Your review is what I was asking about.
Oh, the review. That's going to go out. I have a monthly syndicated column called Spilling the Beans, and that will be next month's... Spilling the Beans will be the review.
Right.
Sort of like it's going to be the big publication date of the World According to Monsanto, because that's where we're going to want everyone to do house parties. So if your listeners are wondering what they can do, they can invite their friends over.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Just sit and watch this incredible documentary. People, if you do this, I guarantee it with some friends who aren't as hip as you are because you listen to the program and all these wonderful guests we have, but just get some people over there and their jaws will drop open. I guarantee it. This is a staggering condemnation and indictment against a major corporate thug, Monsanto. And it just leaves you speechless. I know the material, and it still got me to a significant degree. It's that well done. So, great. And when you get your review finished, if you would, I'll be happy to post it at rense.com.
Sure, absolutely. There's some great footage in there. There's a footage of George Bush I visiting Monsanto, and they're basically saying, so far the USDA has been okay, but if we don't get our approvals by September, we're going to have to be concerned. And he says, call me. We're in the dereg business. Maybe we can help. This is when he was VP.
Yeah.
And sure enough, when he became president, his VP, Dan Quayle, announced that they were going to not have any regulations associated with GMOs so that they can get on the market very quickly. And there's an interview with Dan Glickman, who was Secretary of Agriculture under Clinton, who admits he was slapped around by people in the administration when he tried to raise concerns about GMOs.
Wow.
There's an interview, a very rare interview, with the biotechnology coordinator from the FDA, who admitted that the regulatory process was entirely political and not scientific.
Well, that's the no-brainer of the decade, but yeah, I'm glad to hear somebody saying it.
There was an interview with a senior, I think a minister of agriculture in Paraguay, that admitted that probably Monsanto had been involved with smuggling seeds into the country while it was illegal, so they just eventually had to throw their hands up and say, we have to accept it because it's being planted anyway.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's descriptions of this woman went everywhere. She went to India and interviewed people who were friends with farmers that had committed suicide because they had planted Monsanto.
Over 140,000 have committed suicide in India.
Horrible.
140,000 farmers took their own lives because of this BT cotton crap.
Well, not all of them were for the BT cotton, but
there were others. But that was the key in the film, as I remember it.
Yeah, exactly. There's also a description of how in Paraguay and other places, because of Roundup Ready soy, you can just spray the fields by airplane or by big, large tractor or combine.
Mm-hmm.
They're kicking out all of these peasants who've been working the farmlands for years,
mm-hmm.
and if they try and stick around, they end up getting sprayed. Their animals get sprayed.
Right.
Their children get sprayed.
There's a massive displacement of people going on. There really is, and
it's huge, hundreds of thousands. In fact, 91% of the population in Argentina live in the cities. There's over 50% below the poverty line. They're now trying to teach people in South America to eat the soy, because they're not self-sufficient in food anymore because they're growing so much soy because of as a cash crop. And it's like a big desert because you destroy all the plant biodiversity when you spray with Roundup, except for the Roundup-ready crops, which are engineered to design to withstand this herbicide. And so you have millions of acres with no other plant life. So in other words, and that means you have the insects and the birds. It's like people who visit it say it's like a desert of soy.
No,
and
it's
go
ahead.
They're taking the Amazon down. They're taking the rainforest down in order to make more money with this soy desert.
Yep. 2030 is the year that half the Amazon rainforest will be gone. That's the projection now. Not long from now.
I also learned some things from the World According to Monsanto that I hadn't known. Completely new information to me, which is rare because I'm on this all the time. But she went down to Mexico, and of course we all know about how the indigenous varieties of corn are being contaminated by the genetically engineered corn that's being planted there by the NAFTA corn.
Yep.
It turns out it's creating monster corn.
Oh? Okay, now that's in the documentary, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw those kernels.
Amazing.
Oh, well, this is going to be an extra... Your vision for the health food, the new backbone of American health and wellness, is the nutrition store. To get educational things working in those stores, and offer your DVDs and book. This is amazing. I really commend you, my friend, most highly for what you're doing. Go to seedsofdeception.com. You can also go to geneticroulette.com. And the third one, again, Jeff, is what?
ResponsibleTechnology.org. That's where we have our campaign for healthier eating in America. And it's not just natural food stores that are going to be part of this. Healthcare practitioners are a very big component. I had a wonderful time, showing it again. I gave the presentation, this PowerPoint presentation, to about 250 healthcare practitioners this past weekend. And I asked them to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 100 how vigilant they were in the past week at avoiding bringing genetically engineered foods into their home, how active they are on this issue, and how vigilant they are at avoiding in restaurants. And we got it was a big spread across the board. Most people were completely unvigilant when going out to restaurants. Some people were quite vigilant to avoid it, but a lot of people across the board. And then after speaking for an hour, I asked them to rate themselves again, and virtually everyone was in the 80 to 100 category out of 1 to 100 of how vigilant they plan to be at avoiding genetically engineered foods next week. And so we see that within 1 hour, we're always changing the lifelong eating habits of virtually everyone that listens to the presentation. And so soon we're going to be handing out millions of non-GMO shopping guides to help people make that transition. So I invite people to give that lecture as well, so that's why it's on our website.
Oh, great. All right, I'll put a link up to that. What do you call it, National Anti-GMO Drive, or what do you want to do? We'll link it to responsibletechnology.org. What do you want to
responsibletechnology.org. Yep.
What do we title it, though? I want to have a link, a handle, PowerPoint, as they say.
Oh, well, the GMO health risks PowerPoint. Well, okay. The thing is, the whole website is basically the campaign for healthier eating in America.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and then also, basically the concept is we are planning to achieve the tipping point of consumer rejection against GMOs by the end of 2009, so that by that time, major food companies will be scrambling to replace GM ingredients with non-GM ingredients because they'll see a loss in market share.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to put all three links up. Very good. All right, so...